If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns find themselves standing at a crossroads once again, and if there's one thing fans of this franchise have learned over the years, it's that there's never a dull moment in Cleveland. After a whirlwind of a week that saw the team make headlines for reasons few saw coming, the Browns sit with a disappointing 1-4 record heading into Week 6 of the NFL season. Yet, amid the noise, the speculation, and the waves of frustration coming from a fan base that has been through just about everything, one voice inside the locker room tried to bring calm and conviction to the chaos, that of Denzel Ward. The veteran cornerback, now in his 8th season with the Browns, stepped up to reassure everyone that despite the turbulence, despite the trade of Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals, and despite the growing skepticism surrounding this team, the mission hasn't changed. The Browns, according to Ward, are still all in on winning right now. When the news first broke on Tuesday afternoon that Joe Flacco was being traded to the Browns' in-state rival, the Cincinnati Bengals, social media erupted. It wasn't just about losing a veteran backup quarterback. It was about what the move represented. For many, it signaled something deeper, perhaps a quiet admission that the Browns might be looking ahead to next season. After all, Flacco had become a stabilizing presence in that quarterback room. He brought experience, leadership, and a steady hand, especially when the team's offensive struggles began to mount. But instead of holding on to that veteran security blanket, Cleveland decided to let go. That decision alone set off a storm of opinions from fans and analysts alike, each trying to decode the Browns' true intentions. Were they waving the white flag on this season? Was this the beginning of another rebuild disguised as a transition? Denzel Ward didn't hesitate to respond to those doubts. Standing in front of reporters at his midweek press conference, Ward's tone was calm but firm. "That's what this team is about," he said. "We're trying to win and bring one to the city and the organization. We're close." It wasn't just a statement, it was a reminder. A reminder that for players like Ward, who have spent nearly a decade grinding through the ups and downs of Cleveland football, there's still an unshakable belief that the dream isn't dead. The Browns might have made a surprising trade, but their identity, Ward insisted, remains rooted in one thing: competing every single week to bring a championship-caliber mentality to a city that's waited long enough. The context behind Ward's message adds weight to his words. Since being drafted by the Browns, he's seen it all: the rebuilding years, the flashes of promise, the playoff droughts, and the endless narrative shifts that seem to follow the team like a shadow. Over his 8 seasons, the Browns have only had 2 winning seasons, but those moments of success gave a taste of what victory could mean for Cleveland's long-suffering fan base. For a brief time, there was hope, and players like Ward were at the center of it. They know what winning looks like in this city. They felt the electricity in the stadium when things go right. And that's what makes this current stretch so painful, because the Browns' defense, particularly under Ward's leadership, has shown signs of being something special. Statistically, Cleveland's defense has been among the league's best when it comes to yardage allowed per game. Ranked second in that category, they've proven they can hang with the elite. But football is a game of balance, and unfortunately for the Browns, that balance has been missing. While the defense has been strong, the team has still given up an average of 24.6 points per game, placing them just 21st in the league in scoring defense. Those numbers paint a frustrating picture. A defense doing its part for most of the game, only for small mistakes, late collapses, or offensive struggles to erase the effort. Ward himself has been at the center of some of those tough moments. In last Sunday's heartbreaking loss to the Minnesota Vikings, the Browns were seconds away from sealing what could have been a much-needed win. But with just 25 seconds left on the clock, Vikings receiver Jordan Addison slipped past Ward for the go-ahead touchdown. The play instantly became the defining moment of the game. And instead of pointing fingers or making excuses, Ward did something rare in today's NFL. He took full responsibility. He owned the mistake publicly, telling reporters that he had to be better, that those are the plays that define games and seasons. It's that level of accountability that continues to earn him respect, not just within the Browns' locker room, but across the league. But as the Browns prepare to move forward, Ward made it clear that the focus hasn't shifted to damage control or moral victories. His mindset, and that of the defense, is still locked in on one thing: winning. That's all we preach about in these meetings, and why we're here is to find a way to win, Ward said. That's still the 100% goal. There's a certain conviction in that statement, and maybe that's what Cleveland fans needed to hear most right now. Because if there's one thing this city understands, it's resilience. This is a fan base that has endured heartbreaks, rebuilds, relocations, and countless false dawns. Yet, every Sunday, they show up, ready to believe again. And for players like Ward, that belief is fuel. Looking ahead to this weekend's matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Browns are staring at a challenge that could either reignite their season or push them deeper into uncertainty. The Steelers sit at 3-1, and their defense has been one of the stingiest in the league. For Cleveland, heading into that hostile environment means the defense will once again need to lead the charge. They'll have to find a way to pressure the quarterback, contain the run, and most importantly, finish games, something that's eluded them in recent weeks. Ward knows the margin for error is slim, but he also knows that this is the kind of moment that can define a season. A win in Pittsburgh wouldn't just move them to 2-4. It would send a message that this team isn't done yet. Beyond the X's and O's, though, what makes this moment so fascinating is the broader narrative surrounding the Browns organization. This isn't just about one trade or one game. It's about identity. Over the years, the Browns have constantly battled against the perception that they're a team forever rebuilding, forever one step away from turning the corner. The Joe Flacco trade reopened those wounds for many fans. Why trade away a veteran presence if the goal is still to win now? But perhaps, as Ward's comments suggest, this isn't about giving up. It's about trusting the young players, giving them a chance to grow, and believing that the locker room culture is strong enough to sustain belief even through adversity. Cleveland has always been a city that embraces grit over glamour, and this team, for all its flaws, embodies that spirit. Denzel Ward's leadership represents that old-school Cleveland mentality, tough, accountable, and unshaken by noise. His comments weren't meant to silence critics, but to refocus the narrative. The Browns aren't mailing it in. They're regrouping, recalibrating, and, as he put it, still trying to bring one to the city. It's not blind optimism. It's conviction rooted in experience. Of course, belief alone won't change the standings. The Browns have real issues to address. Inconsistencies at quarterback, offensive inefficiency, and the inability to close out games when it matters most. But if there's one thing the NFL has taught us, it's that seasons can turn around fast. Momentum is a strange thing. One big win, one statement performance, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what Ward and his teammates are holding on to. They're not ignoring the noise, they're channeling it. Every doubt, every criticism, every headline questioning their direction, all of it becomes motivation. So as Week 6 looms large, the Browns enter Pittsburgh not just with a game plan, but with something to prove. For Denzel Ward, this is about more than just a bounce-back performance. It's about pride, legacy, and loyalty to a city that refuses to stop believing, no matter how many times it gets knocked down. The Joe Flacco trade might have been a shock, but for Ward and the Browns, it's not a white flag. It's a reminder that the future belongs to those who fight through the storm. The Browns are bruised, yes, but they're not broken. And if Denzel Ward's words are any indication, they still believe that their story this season has yet to be written, and that when it is, it'll be one worth remembering. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. You can almost feel the shockwaves rippling through the entire NFL world right now, because what just happened in Cleveland might be one of the wildest, boldest, and most unexpected moves we've seen in years. The Browns, yes, the Cleveland Browns, a team so often defined by chaos, heartbreak, and maybe next year energy, have just pulled off a blockbuster move that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. It's official. Tyreek Hill and DK Metcalf are headed to Cleveland. Let that sink in for a second. Two of the most explosive, game-changing wide receivers in the league, one known for his pure, ridiculous speed, and the other for his freakish power and athletic dominance, are now wearing brown and orange. And if you listen closely, you can already hear the sound of defensive coordinators across the AFC quietly panicking. When the news first broke, social media completely melted down. Fans thought it was a troll post, a fake rumor cooked up by some overexcited Browns fan with Photoshop and too much free time. But then, One by one, the big names started confirming it. Insiders, reporters, even players started dropping cryptic emojis. You had eyeball emojis, fire emojis, and the classic eyes all over Twitter, and suddenly it was real. The Cleveland Browns, the same team that spent decades searching for an offensive identity, have just added two of the most electrifying talents in the game. And everyone is asking the same question. How in the world did they pull this off? Sources close to the organization say the deal had been in the works for weeks, hidden under layers of secrecy that only a few front office executives even knew about. Apparently, General Manager Andrew Berry had been quietly maneuvering behind the scenes, taking calls, exploring trade scenarios, and testing the waters on what would have seemed impossible just a month ago. Tyreek Hill's situation in Miami had reportedly become tense. Whispers about contract issues, locker room dynamics, and his desire to be in a system where he could truly explode again. Meanwhile, in Seattle, DK Metcalf was growing increasingly frustrated with the team's direction, especially with the inconsistent quarterback play and questions about long-term competitiveness. The Browns, sensing a once-in-a-generation opportunity, pounced. They offered a package so bold that it shocked both fan bases. Multiple first-round picks, a combination of defensive starters, and a promise to build a championship-caliber offense around Deshaun Watson. Say what you will about Watson's controversies and his inconsistent play since returning, but there's no denying that when he's at his best, he can sling it with the elite. And now, with Hill and Metcalf lining up on opposite sides of the field, he's got weapons that few quarterbacks in NFL history have ever had the privilege of throwing to. Just imagine it. Tyreek Hill streaking down the sideline at a speed that makes defensive backs look like they're running in slow motion, while on the other side, DK Metcalf is bullying corners, shrugging off tackles, and climbing the ladder for contested catches. That combination is the stuff of nightmares for defenses. And suddenly, the Browns, who for years have been the punchline of the AFC North, are looking like the scariest offense in football. You've got Nick Chubb in the backfield, Amari Cooper in the slot, and now Hill and Metcalf on the outside. That's not just a dangerous lineup, that's Madden on rookie mode. And here's where the rumor mill really kicks into overdrive. People inside the Browns organization are reportedly buzzing with confidence. One anonymous staffer was quoted as saying, "This is our year. We're not talking playoffs, we're talking Lombardi." It's that level of energy in Cleveland right now. The locker room is fired up, the fans are losing their minds, and for the first time in a long while, the national media is talking about the Browns not as a meme, not as an underdog, but as a legitimate Super Bowl contender. But of course, not everyone is convinced. Critics are already lining up to question whether this star-studded experiment will actually work. You've got strong personalities in Hill and Metcalf, both alpha competitors used to being the focal point of their offenses. There are concerns about chemistry, about egos, about whether Deshaun Watson can handle distributing the ball to so many high-profile targets without forcing plays or creating locker room tension. Some analysts even suggest that this could end up being too much star power, too many voices in the room. But others argue that this is exactly what the Browns needed, a jolt of energy, swagger, and offensive firepower to wake up a franchise that's been asleep for decades. And if we're being honest, the timing couldn't be better. The AFC North is a battlefield right now. You've got Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and even the Steelers somehow always finding a way to stay competitive. The Browns knew they couldn't just stay the course and hope things would improve. They needed a splash. And this isn't just a splash, this is a tsunami. It sends a message loud and clear. Cleveland isn't content to be an afterthought anymore. They're coming for the crown. Now, let's talk about what this means schematically, because the ripple effect here is fascinating. Defenses used to stacking the box against Nick Chubb are going to have to completely rethink their approach. You can't afford to blitz recklessly when you've got Tyreek Hill ready to torch you deep. You can't double Metcalf without leaving someone wide open underneath. Suddenly, every yard of the field becomes a danger zone. It forces defenses to play honest, and when that happens, Chubb and the run game are going to feast. Kevin Stefanski must be grinning ear to ear right now, knowing he has the kind of offensive chess pieces that can make even the best defensive minds lose sleep. And let's not forget the psychological impact. The Browns fan base, long known for its loyalty despite years of heartbreak, finally has a reason to believe. The Dawg Pound is going to be electric this season. You can already picture it. The stadium packed, the crowd roaring, the energy vibrating through every seat as Tyreek Hill takes a jet sweep for 40 yards or Metcalf hauls in a contested touchdown over two defenders. This isn't just football. This is redemption, spectacle, and hope wrapped into one incredible moment. Rumors are flying that Hill and Metcalf have already been in contact with Deshaun Watson, talking plays, chemistry, and even off-field bonding. Insiders claim they're planning private workouts to build timing before the season kicks off. The excitement is real, but so are the expectations. Anything less than a deep playoff run will be seen as a failure. And that pressure, that intense spotlight, could either forge the Browns into champions or cause the whole experiment to implode. Still, if there's one thing everyone agrees on, it's that the NFL just got a lot more interesting. You can't write off Cleveland anymore. You can't assume the same old story of disappointment. Because when you line up Tyreek Hill and DK Metcalf together, you're rewriting the playbook, literally and figuratively. You're changing how teams game plan. You're making headlines, and you're making history. Whether this ends in glory or chaos, one thing's for sure. The Browns just became must-watch TV. So buckle up, because the 2025 NFL season just got a whole lot crazier. Cleveland, of all places, might be the center of the football universe. And somewhere out there, in every front office from Kansas City to San Francisco, executives are looking at their rosters, their salary caps, and wondering, how the hell did the Browns pull this off? Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!